GM, everybody. Excuse me. Man, what a morning. Robinhood acquired Bitstamp, the longest standing crypto exchange. RIP to Europe, who loses out on innovation to America. What a plot twist, right? After
how did Europe lose out? I didn't hear that portion of it.
Bitstamp's Europe's longest standing crypto exchange.
Okay, wow.
And it's actually, I think, the longest standing crypto exchange in the industry, too. It's been around since 2011.
It's the only one that survived. Survived the hacks and it's incredible. Good for them, man. Wow.
So if you live in USA, a big win for America, the top dogs. We saw this morning the My Doge CTO said that Doginals are going to be integrated into their wallet extension or web extension. That's big for DeFi applications, right? That's pretty big. Runes is still popping off. We saw a dog got another listing today. I just listened to Domo go through BRC 22.0 with Benari, so we will dive into that. So a lot of hot button topics today. We did spend a little bit of yesterday in the Dogecoins community, which we'll be diving into a little bit here shortly. But first and foremost, man, Adam, how you feeling today?
Feeling great. It's great news about the Dogecoins or DRC20s being integrated into that wallet. I met that dude actually up at Consensus. I was just telling Jake offline. And yeah, he's pretty excited about it. I'm trying to get him on the show. I tried to get him on today, but didn't happen. But hopefully maybe we'll get him on for next week to kind of go through this and discuss it in a little bit more depth about what that's going to mean. But you got to be bullish about it, right? I mean, we've talked a million times about how are you going to onboard all these people with crappy infrastructure and tech, right? And so, you know, having a mobile wallet that you can use to, you know, trade DRC20s or Dogecoins or whatever is obviously big news. So, yeah, I'm excited about it.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty bullish. Pretty bullish. It feels like it's all the energy is coming back. I don't know if it's being channeled just because of runes, and there's a lot of crossover between the Bitcoin community, Litecoin, Bells, and Dogecoins, or or maybe if it's just time to resume the next leg up. I guess this is something that we're gonna have to dive into.
Well, I mean, I think just to kind of put a point on that Robinhood acquisition, you see about, okay, and we've seen it. I think you've done some really good threads on it, Jake, about like how much revenue these marketplaces are earning from, meme coin trading. And if you think about the literally hundreds of millions of dollars that OpenSea made last cycle, this acquisition maybe makes some sense, right? Where they could maybe play it early and get in early on this kind of meme coin trading, be able to just rake in some fees and stuff like that. It maybe makes sense from that perspective.
Yeah, we are going to get into Dogecoins, and I hope the community hangs around, because I did get a response from Doggy Market. I invited Doggy Market onto the show. They said they could not make it, but they did give me a reply. And so it is, I would say, pretty encouraging. So I hope everyone stays around as we make that into the segment in a little bit. We're going to start off with Robinhood. I actually do want to pass it over to Chris, who is a fellow podcast enjoyer like myself, who listens to a million crypto podcasts. And Robinhood and their meme coin trading was on Empire a few weeks ago. And this is actually a conversation Chris and I had personally, IRL. What are your thoughts on the Robinhood acquisition of Bitstamp?
Yo, good morning. I definitely think it's pretty big. I don't know what the price was. Was it 200 million?
200 million is what I read.
Floating around.
Yeah.
With that, what's cool is I wouldn't look at it as more of a European loss, an American win. I would just look at it more as an expansion across the globe, and kind of acquiring not only those users but their European licenses as well. So there's going to be some synergies between them, that they'll get to list maybe some of those coins easier on the Robinhood app, and vice versa. So definitely cool to see them diving further into crypto. We did talk last week about how their business is kind of undercover a crypto business. The meme coin volume is just driving their revenues through the roof.
Yeah, so, whether it's a coin or a stock, right? It's the same strategy, right?
It seems that people like the coins more on the stock trading app, which is pretty crazy. So, I mean, Robinhood's probably, it's a good trade outside of coin. It's it's been a great trade for the last year and a half, but it's kind of a sleeper. Look at with everything that they have going on with Roaring Kitty and, their undercover crypto business. It's kind of not really in the limelight as, a major player within the stock or crypto trading world. And I think it's probably something to look out for.
Absolutely. That is a good point, right? It's not a European loss. I just do that a little bit for the engagement. You have a good point, right? They're actually probably the main premise here. Do you think is acquiring the European licenses? Do you think that's the main premise here?
Yeah, a lot of these acquisitions, those licenses are the most annoying things to acquire. You kind of saw it with FTX too. When they were just in hyper growth mode, they were just acquiring anything with licenses, because you have to go through so many, governmental procedures, so many documents, certificates, to kind of get those pushed through, and kind of acquiring your way into it is kind of the easiest way. So I definitely think that's probably the move there. And for 200 million, that's nothing to Robinhood. So I did see it was mostly cash. So that's an easy deal to make.
Easy deal. Speaking of funding and money sloshing around here, Tap sold their pre-sale, their ICO for the equivalent of $5.6 million on CoinList. Why so much? Why is this so important? This was the first Bitcoin ecosystem token ever listed on CoinList, and CoinList has a pretty successful history of launching products, including Solana. And Chris, do you know what other ones were on CoinList? Do you know off the top of your head? I know there's been at least 10 very successful projects.
I do not.
Okay.
I know that CoinList itself actually started as under the AngelList umbrella and then was actually spun out. So that was like Naval's startup for kind of getting early exposure to early stage companies.
I didn't know that. So big successful. I think Flow went through Tap. There's a handful of like very successful projects. I think a few of the L2s did. So they made $5.6 million on this ICO. Tap is getting ready and gearing up to make some big moves. They're very well capitalized. I thought it was around 10 million. Somebody responded to me on Twitter, said they've raised $11.8 million. 4.2 million in VC funding, 5.62 million in this ICO, 2 million in what they're calling their TTP liquid fund. So $11.8 million.
That doesn't even account all the tokens they've sold, right? Haven't they sold a bunch of tokens?
No. So Track, the BRC20 was a free mint. And so this is Tap, right? This is their other ecosystem. They do have Pipe ecosystem, so they're kind of all dispersed around. Something I do see forming, and I do think that these guys are going to be a big player in the game. They're leaning Tap very heavily into DeFi. And more so, I think Tap, this is my speculation, I think Tap's going to compete with CatVM to be the like place to go for DeFi applications. We saw that Tap came out and announced their partnership with ICP, the Internet Computer. I'm going to try to find this here in a second. Yeah, which I thought was also an extremely major event. I posted about it, and I don't think anyone really cared.
Nobody cares about ICP. It's one of those things where it could be important. I mean, I don't know if they got funding from ICP. It's like, why would they have done it with ICP? It didn't really make sense when I saw you post that. I'm like, why would they do that? But maybe ICP, floated them some money or something to really encourage them to use.
Come on, that's Bob. It's Bob Bodley's doing, right? Bob is the ICP guy. He's a very, renowned developer in the Ordinals Rune space. He's been building ICP. He built their marketplace an Ordinal marketplace on ICP. I forget what it's called. I was actually doing a little bit more research. I remember Definity doing their ICO in 2017 and raised like $1 bajillion. And when it came out, ICP was at like 10 billion or 20 billion, and it's been basically just on a path to zero ever since.
Yeah.
Definity's actually classifies itself as a Bitcoin company, which I found kind of interesting. And the whole point of this partnership is really just Tap is creating a bridge with ICP. So the quote here on their post says that we're incredibly excited to announce our partnership with ICP to create a trust minimized bridge between Ethereum and Tap, right? Essentially, they're just doing what Emblem Vault's doing, right? It's a competitor, right? A new competitor in the space. Although I would say we're still in this stage of a collaborative competition because as we believe here, the interoperability space is going to grow to like mega trillions of dollars. The simple fact that I just look at it from my lens is that, the global shipping industry of the entire world is somewhere between 5 to 10% of the global GDP. I would say that interoperability for crypto is probably going to be somewhere in that range, could potentially even be higher. So, right, if you think that crypto is going to grow to, a $50 trillion asset class, or even at the cycle, we'll say, $10 trillion asset class, you're saying this interoperability space is going to be worth $1 trillion, right? And so, or maybe a little bit, right? Even 500 billion if you take it on the lower side.
Yep.
So, it is effectively competition for Emblem and for this type of bridge. CatVM, right, is kind of a similar thing, but I would say the pie still has to be grown so much more, right? All of this stuff is still so inefficient. But the bigger move here is Tap is specifically folding into DeFi. So they're creating this Definity bridge. They say you could bring your ETH assets to Tap, and then you could take your Tap assets to ETH, right? It's the same thing that we've been doing for a long time. And Tap is then coming in and building DeFi protocols. They have something called Tap Bridge, which is, I think, a builder where you can bring your other Bitcoin-based assets to Tap, right? So they have two bridges. You're bringing ETH assets to Tap through this bridge that they're doing with ICP, and then they have their Tap Bridge, which is you could bring your ordinals, your counterparty, or your whatever assets to Tap to participate in whatever DeFi protocols are being built. So I do think they're going to compete with Cat VM in terms of what's a more thriving DeFi ecosystem. I will pass it over to the hands though. We'll go to Dogfather, and then we'll go to Everyday right after.
Hey, GM. Yeah, that's pretty amazing news for Tap. Props to the team. I mean, even though to me it's pretty confusing what they do with the 3 different kind of like tokens and
Yeah.
and I mean, when I dove first into their white papers, I was like, what the heck? I mean, tell me what you do in simple language, and you're doing 3 things. It's confusing, but for whatever reason, they're really successful. And what few people know, this is like a German-based firm. So props to the crowds. I always love German teams like the Liquidium team, and I just celebrate that. And they are really like an incorporated company. They pay real salaries, with social security and stuff. So a proper German firm. So it is possible to be innovative out of the old Europe. So it's super cool, and they also plan to do stuff on Doge. So yeah, I'm pretty excited to see where this is heading.
Yeah, Benny and them have been really doing some work over the last year. They've taken a lot of flack. They did have some controversy pretty recently, actually, and this is just kind of a byproduct of getting a lot of funding. For the Tap distribution of the token, the community ended up getting, I think, like 10% of the overall pie. And then they dedicated another 15% to staking rewards. So you're saying the community got 25% of this overall airdrop. The rest went to VCs and funding and this pre-sale and the team. And I saw a lot of pushback from the community being very upset about it. But this is kind of what happens if when you get VCs in there's token warrants, right? They have to be paid out to, right? This token has to be sold to, supply these salaries, right? I think last time I saw they were getting into like the 15 to 20 person range. It sucks for the community, right? Because you feel like you've supported them this whole way and you only get a fourth of the tokens. Meanwhile, the rest is sold to whales on CoinList, right? It feels, it feels diminishing, but Benny and them have been literally building forward for the community for a long time. So it depends really on what your perspective is of that. But without a shadow of a doubt, there's been a lot of attention on Tap over the last month or so. And I think it will continue to shine and be a competitor. Adam, what are your thoughts on all of it?
I think they have a timeline of a real head start here. In relation to Udi and them, like they have time here on their side. But I think to Dogfather's point, if their messaging doesn't get better, like they're not going to win. Like the best thing about Udi and them is that they know how to spread memes, message, and tell a story about what they're doing. These guys don't, and they need help. They may think they don't need help, but they need massive help because to normal people, which they are going to have to convince to use this stuff, they haven't convinced really anybody. Like it's just, to me, the normal guy, I'm confused as hell as to what they do. And I think, from like just a strategy perspective, like they need to get significantly better in that to have any chance. Like they could build the best stuff in the world, as we know. Cardano is right there. Nobody gives a shit because the messaging around it and what it is and why I would want to use it, nobody cares. Right. So that would be my advice to them. Like they may have the best thing and they're still early enough to win, but they have to get far, far better in conveying messaging why people want to use their stuff.
Yeah, if there's anything more telling about the debate of quote unquote marketing, right, versus product, look at what the top coins are this cycle.
Yeah,
it's literally all meme coins, right? It's all attention, and we've learned this over the years, and it's becoming even more prevalent as more users or more traders come into the space. They're here to make money, and if it takes too long to figure out what's going on, then they're just not going to participate, and they're just going to go ape whatever is being shilled for on Pump.Fun or whoever the next celebrity is that's coming out, and they just want to buy and make it really easy. I'm assuming that's probably on their product roadmap to make it very simple. Right. This is actually something that has challenged us at Emblem for a little while is how do you figure out what the hell you actually are? It took us probably close to a year to really figure out what the fuck Emblem Vault even is. And then it's how do you portray it, right? We have a little bit of a benefit because we've been in the community for a long time, right? Between me, you, and Chris, we've been in the space for over 20 years. And we also have large megaphones, right? My account, your account. That's personal relationships. It's different than tweeting from the Tap protocol or the Track account or the Emblem account. That doesn't have personal relation. And I think that's something that Track is missing right now is like the large community members who are coming out and establishing themselves as like the leader of that kind of area. I'm assuming it'll probably happen over time, but it definitely makes it a lot easier to say.
No, it's like, honestly, in today's day and age, without that, yeah, your business just doesn't work, right? I mean, we talk about it all the time, how we're going to like properly, launch or, penetrate into communities, have them want to use this. Why would they want to use this? What's this going to do? How's this going to make them money? What's, this sort of stuff is really, really hard. I'm not saying it's like easy, like Benny can just flip a switch and turn it on, because you can't, right? You have to have people around you who can do it well, or have an amazing product, which just people fall head over heels for, which that is almost impossible to do. Like, especially in crypto, it's almost impossible.
Yeah. Last one is ordinals, really, right? That just came out of nowhere and everyone's like, yes.
Yep. No, nothing like number go up to make people like, that's the number one thing. Number go up's the best.
Number go up. Technology never fails. Every day. How you doing? Thanks for being patient.
Oh yeah, no problem. Yeah. Hey Jake, Adam, thanks for bringing me up. I had a story to set up a question, right? So a bit of a background story. Went to Europe. We did a vacation, family trip to Europe. And the grandparents gave the kids euros. They gave them in real life fiat money, and they had fun spending some of it. But they came back with, pockets full of euros. They'd never seen, they had no concept of an exchange, a bureau de change or whatever we call it, right? The fancy name. And they were fascinated by this currency exchange in the airport. So we go up to the thing, and the two kids, one after the other, walk up and put the euros down. First kid gets it changed into dollars, and he was really excited. And then he looked at the receipt, and there was like a bullshit huge fee for changing the money. And he looked at his brother, and he was like, "Man, we should have grouped our transaction, right? We should have pooled our money. We could have saved a bunch." And the lady was really nice. She was like, "I'll waive the fee for the second kid," right? But it just hit me. We spend and we're doing some of the same stuff in crypto, right? We like to think that it's very forward thinking and technologically advanced, but I can travel and just spend, I can buy art in Spain with a debit card, and I don't travel to Spain and I'm like, "Oh, fuck your art. I'm not buying that because it's Spanish." It's like, I've heard it. "Oh, screw that. It's on Tezos. It's on Sol. I'm a Bitcoiner. I'm not going to buy art on Tezos." There's so many walls that we've put up, which are very strange.
Yep.
And I guess my question is, as you guys play in that arena of making it easier to trade, trade, commerce, exchangeability, how do you see the future? Like, what's the equivalent of that? Are we going to get to a point where we go on Magic Eden and it doesn't ask you to change your wallet? You switch from Bitcoin to Base and you just spend. How do we get there?
Yeah, I think it's we get there through the steps that people are making right now, and it's a lot of trial and error. But just wallets, wallets are the clunkiest, the worst thing you could imagine from a user perspective, and that has to like disappear. Like the idea of somebody pounding out their seed phrase in a steel plate is ridiculous. Like the globe is never going to do that. And so, I think like you just look at it's baby steps. It's baby steps over the course of decades, right? And so you look at Coinbase releasing their new wallet, which I haven't used yet, but apparently is really, really just intuitive and easy. Stuff like this that were ideas during the last cycle, are here. And during the next cycle, it won't even be that. You'll be signing in through your AI and your DNA. I don't even know, right? But just an invisible layer. Our view, certainly at Emblem Vault, is an invisible layer of digital items which just move, and you don't even have to. You're not even concerned that it's on this chain or that chain. The items just move around. You may know that your artist that you held is on Bitcoin because that's a very valuable item, and for you that's important. But as we see, the majority of digital items have almost no value. It's movement of ownership and all this like digital stuff, right? That we just want to be able to move around seamlessly, and we're literally miles away. I mean, we may be a decade or 2 decades away from that being kind of invisible in the background, but and the only way to get there is just by building stuff, failing, building more stuff, and so that's kind of where I see it right now. What do you about to you, Jake?
Trial and error is really a tough part with Coinbase Wallet, right? That's account abstraction. That's the idea of abstracting away the private key situation and allowing users to sign in with different means. So I think with Coinbase Wallet, I saw that you can sign in with Face ID, I think was right. So trying to fix that user experience is number one. From the Emblem side, we have something called chain abstraction, which is kind of like what we're building towards, which is exactly what Adam said, is abstracting away the layers of where the token has been minted, where it doesn't even matter for the user, right? Maybe if you're a savvy collector, it'll be important, but for most users, it really doesn't matter. And then I think also, excuse me, Jesus. I think also from the user side, or maybe from the commercial side, there's going to be a variety of different marketplaces. Like you see BlackRock coming out with their own tokenized, I just call it like tokenized, I guess like financial instruments, right? Because they're like tokenizing debt. I think you'll see probably a lot of different Web2 companies, or even just traditional businesses like real estate brokerages probably come out with their own tokenized models, and it'll be probably a lot more specialized. I don't think you'll see something like Magic Eden. Maybe this happens. It's a little bit tough to see though. See things like Magic Eden selling tokenized securities and houses and tokenized Pokemon cards and all this stuff. I find it a little hard that one place will house all of these, right? Like, are we going to see the Walmart of tokenized assets? It's possible. Who's that going to be, right? Is that what BlackRock is trying to do with their BlackRock and Citadel Securities with their new stock exchange being registered down in Texas, right? Are they going to try to take that tokenized security model? It's really tough to know, but I think in this early stage where the UI UX is pretty bad across the board, but it is improving. It gives opportunity for, these specialized kind of industries to come in and really build out what they need for their tokenized, or I guess like token economic models. Really tough to say, but I think that's kind of where it's going.
Gonna be a while. Gonna be a while. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely going to be a while, but excited for it, right? It gives a lot of opportunity to say the least.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're still at the stage of like, where we're looking at stuff like, a marketplace for NFTs. We're still in this. That's a really early stage. Think about it a different way, which is a much kind of larger, broader thing, which is like all assets, right, live here, and your entire digital life lives here. And you're not necessarily concerned about where the stuff is or even buying and selling. You just have it, right? And that's like where it moves around and stuff. And we get into like the larger vision of how that even becomes a reality. But right now we're in such the early stage of what we're playing around with, which is basically art and some art NFTs and PFPs and some meme coins, maybe utility token thrown in here or there. But we're still in just like the early stages of how this all kind of lives online.
Yeah, absolutely. So I got one final topic before we do move into the Doginal segment. I listened this morning to Domo and Benari and Isabel and a handful of others talk about, and the founder Unisat, I forget what his name is, discuss BRC 22.0 and the swap module. The takeaways from it is that this recent proposal for their swap module, which is being implemented by Unisat, sounds like it'll be live in about 2 months or so. It's very similar to what Unisat already had, but they've made some adjustments. And it seems like there's a full working force behind BRC 22.0. You have Benari, who's over at Best in Slot. You have Unisat. And then you have Domo and the Layer 1 Foundation all kind of working in unison to get BRC 22.0 up to a state that is competitive per se. And so the swap module is interesting, right? At first, it looked like it was supposed to be tied into the code, but now it sounds like it's more just like almost like a template, like of a module, right? So this swap module that they proposed recently is not being built directly into the protocol, but essentially it'll be open source code for anybody to come in and deploy it and build basically their own swap module. Is that the most effective way to do this? I'm uncertain. My friend H in Wonderland, who built Pond, right, and he's building Magma, right, and he's had a lot of success. He believes, I had a conversation with him, he believes this is the fastest way to failure, actually, is putting this out, because he says it's not a good idea to standardize swap modules, because then there's no reason for competition if they're all the same, right? If they're all built off very similar models. The reason why you've had success with like Sushi Swap per se is because they built some of their own use cases like Vampire Tax and LPs and some stuff to compete with Uniswap, who came in and did this. And he believes that this is a fastest way to just have basically a monopoly. Once Unisat deploys this, what's the incentive for anybody else to go in and try to compete when they basically own the whole vertical stack?
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, so it's a way to, so what you're saying is it's a way for Unisat to basically lock in their win. The question is, how big's the ecosystem? Did they just win a race to nothing, right? Did they just win?
That's a good point. Yeah.
You know, did they just, okay, they have now a monopoly on a zero, which is very possible. Like, it's very possible BRC 20s just go away. You know, do I think that's going to happen? I don't know. My brain, as I was thinking about, you know, BRC 20s, it's like, when am I going to be able to add images to BRC 20s? You know, it's like when I'm looking on Unisat and I'm looking at the names and stuff, it's like, when are they going to be able to put some damn images on these things where I'm going to be able to, like, people are visual, you know? And I mean, I think if they just did that, it would be a much more effective move to kind of growing the ecosystem. I just don't see, you know, right now with runes kind of popping and dog going crazy, I know they're trying, they're putting in effort, but it just seems like this is the losing horse right here. It feels that way. And I'm happy to be corrected. Happy to have people come up and say, "No, you're wrong, man. Runes are stupid. This is the way it's going." But this is like just what we talked about, the mind share, you know, something as simple as like an image. Dude, that's the way meme coins work. And BRC 20s right now are meme coins, and they're like the crappy version of meme coins. right? So yeah, it's going to be tough for them.
Well, there's definitely a coordinated effort to bring some attention back. And there's actually a lot of hype behind this. I'm actually kind of hyped as well. Unisat is going to be distributing their pizza, BRC20. So it's a 5-character. If you know, the 5 characters were just added recently, I think within the last few months. On Unisat, you could claim 100 pizza if you had interacted with Unisat within the last 3 months. And then there was some bonus points for if you had interacted with their swap module and etc. Pizza, obviously a big meme. So I think here, from what I'm reading, this will be distributed to about 200,000 wallets. I don't think it's definitely not 200,000 people because 25 of those wallets are mine. Right. And I've heard of, I heard a handful of other people say they even had more. I heard like 50.
Sure.
Right? So you're saying, so, maybe 10,000 people or so, maybe more, 10 to 50,000 or so.
But this you had to claim, right? There was like a window of doing it, right? Yeah, I missed that totally.
Yeah, you had to claim it. And right now on OTC markets are trading at $2.50 per. So it pre-market's around 50 million market cap. A lot of people think it'll go higher. You could have this dichotomy where Asia is still not satisfied with runes. And Case even said on his recent Hell Money podcast that he's not going to add Chinese characters. So maybe they feel a little, scorned, and they're just going to hate pump this because they like BRC20. It's possible, right? As you see Latin America adopting runes, the East is still pretty persistent on BRC20 and Dog because Leo's doing a really good job there.
Yep.
And my question is, with this coordinated effort where they're announcing the swap module and they're getting engagement into the pizza airdrop, right? Number go up, as we said, is the best technology ever. Do we think that this pizza airdrop can reignite some interest in BRC20? I think that's the whole idea here, right? If this goes to a $500 million market cap, are people just going to sell it and go back to runes, or is it actually going to attract some builders?
Well, let me ask you, have you sold yours yet?
I can't yet. No, I didn't sell it.
Okay.
They are airdropping. They have to airdrop it still, but you can sell it pre-market. So the pre-market platforms like Moo Market and Whales Market are a little bit complicated if you're not an advanced user. Basically,
okay, so you didn't do that then. You didn't pre-market.
No, I'm holding this. I actually think it'll probably go pretty high.
Yeah.
Unisat actually had to put probably $1 million into this. So I was reading, because with the new upgrade to BRC20, you could pre-mine all of it, right? Just like what Casey did with runes. Apparently, from what I was reading, their intern or whoever it was fucked up and put the mint limit at 1,000, and it was a 21 million.
Jesus Christ!
So they had to literally individually mint these. So they had to do, like right. They had to do a few 100,000 mints. Obviously, they own the service, so they're just paying the miner fee. But if it's 200,000 mints, I don't have it in front of me, but whatever the amount was, right? 200,000. I guess it'd be 210,000 or so if you're paying $5 per mint or $4 per mint, right? So they put some money into this.
Bro, crazy, man. Crazy.
Yeah, I'm excited to see. Will it generate interest? I don't know. I personally don't think BRC20 will go away. I was listening to Hell Money podcast yesterday, and Casey had brought up an interesting point about why it's unlikely he's going to introduce any new upgrades to runes. And he said any upgrade that he introduces will introduce MEV to the protocol. And he specifically noted that the swap module will add MEV to the protocol. And he said that any DeFi kind of application will introduce it. But so Casey's perspective here, just to kind of showcase kind of the differences. Casey's perspective is very similar to Vitalik's perspective with L2s. He said, I'm going to be very minimal, even though Ethereum's not minimal, but the idea is the same. He's like, I'm going to keep this as lean as possible, and then I'm going to allow the application layers to build the DeFi protocols. And whereas on the opposite side, Unisat in this kind of cohort is saying, we're going to build the technology, make new integrations, and we're going to give you the DeFi tooling through these proposals for you to go out and build them and integrate it into the protocol, and that all of these frameworks are introduced by this cohort of teams who are building it out. And so there's a little bit of two different levels going here. Who's going to win? I don't know. Rune's got some momentum. BRC20 still has a higher market cap cumulatively. So, yeah.
Is that just because it's so hard to sell?
I think
can't dump it. There are no buyers on the other end. So there's literally the floor just stays wherever it is because it's like, I don't want to list it. People are too lazy to list, you know, and so the stuff just sits at this like artificial market cap. Like it's possible. You know?
So I put a tweet about this like a week ago. I don't want to go find it, but essentially the whole premise is that because of this, the on-chain markets, which is like the spot market, right? The way that Runes and BRC20 trade, it's more of a slow climb because it's like a staircase up. And the reason why is because you have a mempool. So these things have to confirm.
Yep.
And you have to buy in batches, right? You can't buy a specific amount. You have to buy whatever is listed, and you're buying in bulk, right? Whereas fungible tokens, you can literally specify down to the single sat or single dollar what you want. Here, you cannot do that. And so you get these momentums where the on-chain market and this I'm just using both, right? The on-chain markets on Unisat and Magic Eden, you get these like big sweeps upwards, but they trade like NFTs. So you set a floor price. And so it's kind of unique where with fungible tokens, to move the floor, you literally have to sell the asset. But with Runes and BRC20, you can move the floor down without even selling anything, right? You just basically list it.
Yeah.
There's some artificial manipulation there, but it has to sell, right? And so with BRC20, right, you have to write the transfer inscription and then list it. So it's a little bit tougher to manipulate. Whereas Runes, you don't need to. You can just continually list and do these like spoof bidding. So I do think you're right with BRC20, where it's just a pain in the ass. So there's kind of an artificial floor there. But when you look at the centralized exchange volumes for some of these, I've been watching this with Dog and with Orty. The volatility is introduced through centralized exchanges. And so you'll see like this big candle upwards on one of these exchanges. And you'll see maybe a 5% difference. And then you'll see probably arbitrage traders come in and sweep the on-chain market. And so then you'll see the exchange and Magic Eden or whatever then finally equal out. But it moves much slower, right? It's taken Dog 6 weeks or almost 2 months to really get up to $1 billion, and it's still not there. Whereas on these smart contract platforms, you see Boom go to $1 billion in 2 days, right? Pepe went to $1 billion in 2 weeks. Yep. It's going to take Dog 2 months to get to $1 billion, and that I think that has to do with how the UTXOs trade. But with that being said, you know, with less volatility in the on-chain or spot market, introduces downside protection as well. So you don't see these crazy swings like you see on Puppet.
Slower up, slower down, both ways.
Yeah. But once you see like Binance and stuff come in, you will see some more volatility, but it is still a little padded. What do you think, Doc Father?
I think it's very hard to compare Audi with Dog, for instance, or the two largest tokens on Runes and on BRC20, because while Audi is listed on Binance and OKX, Dog isn't, right? So the volume is like 10% or so.
Yep.
And for many investors, it's still out of reach. So we need to wait till we have, let's say, a level playing field where both are listed on the same exchanges, and then we can do some guesswork. And my expectation is that Dog will pick up in terms of valuation once they are listed at the large exchanges. It's just like natural, right? So the supply is fixed, while there are then like 5 times more investors that can buy. And then we will see how the Chinese whales, like in the alpha groups, will actually react once they see, okay, this is really now like, let's say Dog is at 2 billion and there's an obvious gap. Then we will see, and I think there's just like 10, 20 Chinese, let's call them whales or KOL influencers, whatnot. If they do thumbs down for BRC20, then the whole crowd moves. So I think this is pretty binary. So now they're still like patient and see what's going on. But if the swap module, pizza or whatnot, the BRC20 side is doing is not doing the trick, I think this can be very quick. So these people move quickly once they move, but it's very binary. So there could be like a massive wave of liquidity coming to runes from the Asian side once this is like triggered. So I think it could be like a tsunami once this is happening.
Yeah, I completely agree. In my opinion, I thought Dog was the winner before Dog was even airdrop. When I saw RuneZone go to $500 million in like 2 or 3 weeks, and when I saw it flip Bored Apes in 3 weeks, I knew the momentum was too strong. To me, there's just, and you see Brazil and Latin America adopting it. It is following a similar trajectory of Ordi, but I think the simplicity of Runes and the social dynamics behind it, right? Like Casey being the key figurehead and the creator of it. I think that narrative is really too hard to overcome. Although I do think BRC20 will kind of stick around for specific use cases or degen plays or whatever comes in. I did hear they are trying to figure out a way to put EVM inside of the inscription somehow so that you could put smart contracts in the inscription of the BRC20. I don't know if that's in the deployment ticker or if it's like per inscription, but they are playing around with this like cross-chain interoperability, which I think is really cool. And I think for BRC20's longevity, I don't think you can compete with Runes one-on-one. I think you got to build some sort of specific use case to compete. But I have pulled up here. I tweeted this chart out yesterday. I did not make this chart, by the way. Some people were getting really upset about the Doge, this pie graph up here of Doge being overlaid on BNB.
I think didn't Leo tweet this out first or somebody? Yeah, I saw that.
I saw Leo tweet it. But I mean, at the end of the day, right, you look at this pie graph that I have here on the live stream. I tweeted out a few days. It's basically a pie graph of the underlying layer 1 with the top meme coin on top, and it shows the fraction. And so again, here it has BNB with Doge. They're both layer 1s, but I think it's just showing kind of a comparison, right? So BNB's market cap's 107 billion, Doge is 23 billion, right? That's 22% of BNB. Dog with Hat is 4.5% of Solana. Which is Dog with Hat's 3.5 billion, Solana's 80 billion. You have Shiba Inu is 15 billion on a blockchain of Ethereum. That's 450 billion. That's 3.3%. And then you have Dog. Dog is at $900 million market cap. Bitcoin is 1.4 trillion, which that equals 0.06%. And so I posted this yesterday, right? This is moon math, but I don't think it's actually that big of a moon math if you're just looking at simple power laws.
Yep. So
2% of 1.4 trillion is $28 billion, right? But if Bitcoin continues to go up and Bitcoin, if one Bitcoin is $100,000, that puts Bitcoin around a $2 trillion market cap, right? And so then if you say, what's 2% of 2 trillion? Well, that's $40 billion. And I think that's where a lot of these numbers are coming from, but I do think there's some credibility to this. I mean, even
it's played out with the NFTs too, right? This was the whole thesis with ordinals, right? Mm-hmm. And NFTs is a fraction of Ethereum. This is the same thesis, and it's not wrong. I mean, Leo was right about this with ordinals to a degree. I mean, it's still playing out, of course, but the numbers just work. This is like humans work in these systems, right? And so it just makes sense. The Dogenal or the Dog one doesn't make any sense, but the other three do make sense. Yes.
Yeah, I think on this graph, I think it's literally just a point of comparison because it's like if Doge is 23 billion, it's like what do you compare it to, right? It can't just be its own circle on this graph.
100%.
Right? It's 100% of itself, right? It's like what are you gonna put Doge on top of Doge or something for this graph? It's interesting, but yeah, mainstream adoption.
The questions are: is Dog going to be the winner? Right? Is it going to be the big one? It's hard to argue against it right now. It's still early. But then it's just what fraction. And it might be a small, like you said, it might be 2%. Is it going to be 1%? But either one of those is still a huge number, right? When with Bitcoin going up and Bitcoin's market cap going up, either one of those is a massive number. So everybody's feeling good about their dog bags right now. That's for sure.
Yeah. As of now, I think the only competitor to Dog is Magic Internet Money. I did tweet about this the other day and got absolutely flamed by the community.
Why would you say?
I just think that they're taking too long. It looks like there's
Yeah,
now it looks like there's now another 4 to 6 week waiting period.
Come on, really?
So there was a community vote, and maybe Chris even knows this more than I do, because he's been following it along more. It looks like there's a 30-day window for claims, and then there's going to be some sort of burn, and that's going to be 4 weeks from now, and then I assume it's probably going to be another 1 or 2 weeks before they airdrop it, or do this like burn claim function or something. So from what I'm looking at, it's going to be another 4 to 6 weeks before Magic Internet Money is given to the community. And my whole premise behind it is, at that point you're going to have 10 runes at $100 million, and you're going to have maybe 1 or 2 or 3 over $1 billion. I think the momentum is going to be really hard to compete with, although Magic Internet Money is like the original meme, right? So you're probably going to attract a lot of you could attract a lot of like institutional capital, just because everyone knows what Magic Internet Money is. I think if they launch,
if for people who want to buy the BRC20, then is there any like risk to buying it and not be included in the snapshot? Or Chris, do you have any info on that?
No, there's no risk. It'll just be a burning claim to move over to the rune standard. I don't really think that there's too much of an issue with any kind of waiting period. I think that Mavin's style is pretty unique and really funny, that he's just kind of, up in the air with almost no information, and then just kind of the way that he operates, and the community is just kind of at his will. I think the strength of the coin with literally zero communication is exactly what you're looking for. In a meme coin, you don't want any team involvement, pretty much. You want like as little as possible. Mavin's is literally doing nothing. It doesn't get like any less than that, but it's deployed by the creator of the actual Magic Internet Money meme from 2013. So the lore goes deeper than any meme in existence. It's like the truest meme to Bitcoin's core. It's been there since almost the very beginning. And I don't really worry about any kind of competition or time restraints in terms of moving over. I just think that the meme is so organic. When you're looking for a meme like that, you don't want any, it doesn't even need to be marketed. It just kind of exists on its own will. And it's existed since 2013, and it'll exist far into the future, with no marketing behind it. So just, how organic it is, and how much momentum it's seeing even today, while it's still basically the only token that's still on the BRC standard, and it's still competing in volumes with everything on runes. I think that's just foreshadowing of what's going to happen whenever the migration does kind of commence over to runes.
What's the current market cap of it?
I think maybe 160 million, something like that.
Okay.
I would say that's for the highest market cap of that, or for where that's going to go. I think that is actually pretty low. It'll be definitely in the billions, mega billions of dollars.
We kind of talked a few weeks ago, just kind of like the opportunity on some of these tokens. And, people have no problem kind of really diving into Solana meme coins at 100 million plus, something like that. But you can buy like the blue chip, quote unquote, memes of Bitcoin at somewhere around 100 million, 200 million. If you plan on some of these going to multi-billions, that's 10x's. If you plan on them going to tens of billions, which isn't out of the realm of possibility, that's a few hundred x's. So if you're looking for some really long shot plays with, in terms of kind of risk adjusted returns, as funny as that is to apply them to meme coins, the place here you should probably be looking is in the BRC circuit, and definitely within the rune circuit.
Yeah. Anytime Chris is bullish on something, I know it's a definite cook there. So that's going to be an exciting time. Again, yeah, my whole thesis, right? I have no doubt that Magic Internet Money is going to be there. Mine is just more of the framework of, I'm a little bit more momentum based when I go into my trading, or into, I guess, my like long-term thoughts about things. And I'm just a little bit more of a believer in strong network effects, although Magic Internet Money does have that. I think the way that DOG is forming, and the organic nature of getting countries onboarded, and actually just attracting a lot of like non-crypto natives per se. I think that organic is going to be hard to compete as the number one rune. But no doubt, dude, it's probably going to be within the top 5 somewhere once it makes it over. Just as we know, these like burning claim and this whole thing takes forever for it to be done. So a definite cook. I think the only longest standing meme before that, there's actually 2. I could drop some alpha for what I think is actually going to be the next $1 billion one. Can't even be minted yet. Can't even be minted yet. No, it's actually an 11 ticker. I wasn't going to say this publicly, but maybe I'll just say it. The 11 ticker, the 11 character
Is it
ticker.
Honey Badger?
It feels good, man.
Oh, feels good.
That's a good one. Ooh, that's a heater. You shouldn't have said that.
So I guarantee you people are going to start talking about it once it gets closer. Whoever does etch that, if they do a pre-mine, they're going to completely ruin it. So it's going to have to be open. I would definitely make sure in 50 days from now, you definitely have some sats ready to mint the fuck out of that thing.
Looking back to the original Roots launch, I mean, I think that even some of the highest, in anticipated tickers were roughly around $1 billion. So, or 1 Bitcoin to mint.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that we could probably get in there for pretty cheap if that's a ticker that you'd like.
Yeah. My question is, some of these sniping tools, Satflow and Gold Miners and all these ones are going to be all around some of these mints. So it's going to be interesting to see how that goes and how many people get sniped of these. Like you could just have one sniper come in and, command 10% of the supply and just have it dispersed to other wallets. So, an unfortunate circumstance of mempools, but that's kind of the situation. I've heard some other really good ones as well. I hope one of the Pepe guys are the ones that deploys that, but we'll see. We'll see at the end of the day. Moving on here to our Doginal segment. I do want to note that I did reach out to Doggy Market and ask them if they'd like to join. I know it's one person. I also believe it's a non-English speaking native from my previous conversations. I could be wrong, but I do believe that. He basically said that he couldn't join today, but he said he wants to emphasize that Doggy Market is not a judge in the case between Doginal dogs and anti-Doginal dogs. Which is what they only want to do is respect the copyrights. They did go on to say that after learning about how other marketplaces handle similar causes, Doginal dogs have been informed that they need to send a takedown notice to keep the anti-Doginal dogs collection removed. This is a conversation we had yesterday. So that answers one question. Final statement they said is if they do not do this in a reasonable amount of time, then the collection will be relisted. So there's the information, right? We've found out that Doginal dogs did not send a DMCA request. Maybe they just asked them politely. Sounds like it. But I do want to pass it over to Big Chief, who has been leading the anti-Doginal dogs movement. But first and foremost, could you just explain the situation at hand for everyone on stage and everybody in the crowd who may not be aware of some recent attention within the Doginals community?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, you guys. So I guess it all kind of started. Well, I mean, it started a while ago because the DDs did this supposed free mint to the entire community, right? Where only a handful of people actually got their free mint. And I think it's been proven that they own still like 70% of the supply. So it never was distributed, even though they claim that there's 5,000 individual wallet holders and this and that, right? So that's kind of like where it all started. And then last week, there was this whole Jenner coin thing. I really didn't pay too much attention to it. But apparently someone called out the Doginals community as being a bunch of scammers and then pointed towards the group behind the DDs. So there was a lot of outrage in our community because the Doginals community is pretty big. Like there's a lot of us, there's probably 400 or 500 of us that are active on X like daily. So somebody said, why don't you just make an anti-doginal dog collection? And that was on, I think it was like Friday night or Saturday night, or maybe Thursday night. I don't know, whatever night it was. They all kind of blend together to me, for me nowadays. But within 60 hours, we had the entire collection, 10,000 piece minted between 10 node runners. We each minted out approximately 1,000 of these ADDs. And once we had them minted, we had an 8-hour space where we were giving ADDs to anybody and like everybody, right? And we're still giving away ADDs. There's people in the crowd that have a bunch of ADDs to give. So if you have a Doginals wallet address and you want to join this like movement, just post it in the purple pill down below, and I'm sure somebody will get to it. Anyways, yeah. So that the night that we finished the mint, we got the metadata together. We stayed up until 2:00 in the morning, finishing up the metadata and getting it submitted to two marketplaces, Doggy.market and Doge.ordinalswallet.com. And I finally got them submitted at 2:00 in the morning, and then I went to bed, and I woke up at 8. And by 8:00 in the morning, and this is crazy because normally you submit to Doggy Market, it takes days to weeks for them to approve a collection. There's collections that have been waiting for months to be listed. And by the time I had woke up in the morning, the collection was listed on Doggy Market, and there was already like 12,000 in Dogecoin volume for the like couple hours that it was listed. By the third hour it was listed, it was number 1 on daily volume. It was number 100 on all-time volume. And 2 more hours went by, and there was 46,000 Dogecoin in daily volume. This is like a period of like 5 or 6 hours. $46,000 in volume, and the ADDs were number 93 or 94 or something like that. And then it was delisted at that point in time. They took it off of the Doggy.market website. Apparently, Bark asked for it to be removed. And then yeah, I mean, they said it was copyright infringement. It's my opinion, and I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But it's my opinion, if you inscribe onto a public ledger, then now your data is now public, because that's the nature of the public ledger. So I didn't copy and paste their collection. I wrote a clever piece of script that recursively called each of the inscriptions in their collection, but flipped them and inverted them. And it's transformative art, and it has a clear message that's definitely not the same message as the DDs. I'm not trying to claim, or nobody's trying to claim, that the ADDs are DDs. They're visually very different. I don't think they have a copyright claim. If they want to take it to court, I'll be happy to go to court. Although I didn't make any money off of this. The people who minted it probably didn't make any money off of it. I know a lot of us have been just giving it away. I mean, I can't verify everything, but I know that everybody in the Dogecoin community, everybody in the Doginal community has all had their opportunity to get these things for free, and nobody's asking anybody to buy them. nobody's telling anybody to buy them. Nobody's telling anybody they have to change their PFP or they're not a part of a group or anything like this. It's been fully organic, and there was a lot of momentum behind what I would say was a movement, right? I mean, it's more of a movement than a NFT collection. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy to hear what your response was from Doggy Market, and yeah,
Well,
thanks.
that's good. That's good news for you guys, right? In theory, it should,
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's really good news.
Yeah, this was the conversation we had on the Dogecoin Wednesday show yesterday. The big question was, did they actually submit a DMCA takedown request? And it doesn't appear that they did. So now the big question is, do they actually have a trademark filed for the art, right? Although I think Book was talking about this yesterday, where you don't actually need to.
You don't actually need to
file the artwork for you to be able to claim copyright on it. Again, I'm not an IP expert. I've gone through these a lot with Emblem vaults being taken down from OpenSea for a variety of different reasons. But this is one of those IP infringement kind of cases. But I guess we'll find out here pretty shortly. If not, then the collection gets relisted. If the collection does get relisted, Big Chief, what are the next steps here?
Well, I've given away most of mine. I'm down to a little over or a little under 300 of them. The movement hasn't stopped. There's still people changing their PFPs every day. There's people posting about it every day. It's alive. It's it's out there.
Hey, why aren't you rocking one right now, bro? What's up? Have you abandoned the community?
So there's been a little bit of discussion in the back channels, right, and a little debate going on, and just out of respect for some of the other people in the Node Runners group, I've decided that I'll just rock my RC001. This is the collection that I'm the most proud of. This is my first recursive. I created a new standard for recursive on Dogecoin. So that's what this is, that standard, the first one. And there's a lot of people that are using it to get down the weight on a collection. So like you could do a 10,000 collection. It costs us 1,000 Dogecoin, probably around 1,000 Dogecoin, to inscribe the entire ADD collection, which spread throughout 10 people, it's 100 Dogecoin each. It's like, nothing, right? $20 or $16. So using this recursive technology, you can make a 10,000 collection for $20. Like the parent child plus all the children is basically a few hundred Dogecoin. So that's what I'm really proud of. Also, we have other builders in our community that are building some really cool stuff. So I'm trying to kind of, move that attention away from ADD towards what's happening in our community and how we're actually building things in our community, and not just fighting with Bark Meta or whatever. And there's DPay, DogePay. He was in that space last night. He is developing an inscription or an NFT or whatever, a Dogonal, that is a music player that you can choose out of a number of songs that whichever song you want to hear. You can hit the play button. You can scroll back and forth through the song. You can change the volume, and it has like a 3D image of whatever that album would be, rotating within the frame. So it's really cool technology. I think this MP3s on Dogecoin is probably the next meta, for at least for Dogecoin anyway.
Yep. So just a little bit more context on the movement for those that aren't aware. So I think it was some point last year, Bark Meta and his group, which consistently hosts the spaces, they might even be doing it right now, came to the Dogecoin space They created a collection of 10,000 doginal dogs, which they claim to be distributed fairly. Some people did some on-chain research to determine that it was like 80% of these wallets that were airdropped to were freshly created. Then we had Bark a bunch of people were claiming that they were wash trading doginal dogs. We had Bark on our space, this space he came on to, and he admitted that they were in fact wash trading it, but they said that they were
Market
actually
making, they were calling
market making is what he called it. And honestly, what really gave it away was that the price movements were literally in complete even numbers. It was like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000, 5,000. It literally just did not look organic at all. They said that they were market making it. And then, as of recently, that same group has been involved with a handful of Solana rugs and Solana misconceptions and Caitlyn Jenner. And they've now used their platform with their doginal dogs as PFPs to pump meme coins on Solana. And a handful of people have been calling Bark and that group out because they've also been doing the same thing since 2021. They were a part of the what was it? It was like the red question mark, that Solana group that was like rugging everyone. I forgot what it was called.
I don't remember that one. I mean, that
The
was
network.
The network is what it was called.
Jeez,
Yeah, so they were part of that rug. And
what did they do back then?
it's just the same thing they're doing now.
Yeah.
Literally the same exact thing. But I think the reason why this started, and correct me if I was wrong, is as they're getting attention on these spaces and people are calling them out, I've seen people call them these Doge ordinal guys or these doginal guys, and they're basically kind of smearing, or at least the community feels they're smearing the integrity of the community because they're behind a lot of these, Solana pumps and dumps. And again, it's all speculation. None of this is confirmed, but there's even Zach XPT posts about this group from 2021, 2022. And it did look like they had changed their game. They did build like the Doge sats tracking or rare Doges or rare Sheebs tool. I don't know if that was ever used. I don't know if that was ever used. Was it ever used?
There's no such, Jake, 1 second. There's no such thing as a rare SHIB because that's based on difficulty adjustment, and there's a difficulty adjustment every single block on Dogecoin. It doesn't apply to Dogecoin. That whole SHIB indexer thing was a thing that I had a discussion with. I think it must have been Bark, and and he didn't give me an answer. He's like, I don't answer questions. But there's no such thing as a SHIB.
It was all BS.
Yeah, exactly.
Stats on Doge was not real.
Not real at all. Yeah, it's crazy. It was just vaporware.
Nice.
And there was a lot of things that contributed to all this and this entire movement, and also Dunes was one of them. When us node runners found the GitHub for Dunes, it was open source. We found the CLI, we were experimenting it, and almost immediately we were painted as scammers for disseminating this information amongst the community. We were told that we actually closed sourced it, and they went really low. Like they knew my history. They even called it the B as Dunes SV because they know I used to dabble with BSV. It's really like childish, I swear.
Yeah. So we'll go to the hands. We'll go to Book, and then we'll go to BG.
Hey, good morning, Jake. Good morning, Adam and Chris. Thank you for letting me on the stage today. I just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself. Past your initial invitation like a couple of months ago, I wasn't able to make it because I was at work. My name is Book. I'm one of the node runners out of the Dogecoin community. What the node runners do, we teach people how to run Dogecoin nodes that may be interested in running their own node. And we also teach people how to inscribe on the Dogecoin blockchain. Past teaching people, if people wanted to inscribe on the Dogecoin blockchain, it is a service that some of us provide at a way lower cost than you can ever find going to drc-20.org or going to dogi.market, right? Why we exist. The reason we exist is it kind of falls into the story that you guys are speaking about today regarding the ADD collection, right? There was a bit of a gatekeeping that was going on at a certain point in time coming from that group. And there were certain things that certain ones of us did in order to make the technology available to the greater Dogecoin community, right? Basically, taking down that wall or kicking down that door, so to speak. And that's what we've been doing pretty much since, the end of January, beginning of February. With that, one of the things that we did when the No Runners first started was we created a collection called No Runners based off of artwork that was done by Billy, right? And in order to become a part of the group that we had, you had to inscribe your own node runner, right? We had a certain amount and we had to inscribe them. We did that at the inception of the No Runner group, right? Coming from the history that we do, that was a very powerful thing in practice, right? So one of the things that I decided to do, because we just haven't done it yet, we're now in June. Today, I started a giveaway for 3 Node Runner OGs, okay, to onboard new people into the Dogecoin community. Maybe people that may be listening to this show right now, right? If anybody wants to inscribe their own Node Runner, the only thing you have to do is reach out to one of us. We will get you into the Node Runner group. We will get you running your own Dogecoin node, and you can inscribe your own set of Node Runner OG inscriptions and do what you will with them. Once we get through that process, we are going to be inscribing the layers. And if I remember correctly, they're already inscribed. We just need to start using them. And we're going to start creating them recursively. And we're going to start using that as our onboarding mechanism instead of using the ADD coming from the Node Runner group, right? And I feel that's important. There's more than one way to skin a cat, so to speak. And the reason why we exist today is the very reason as to this show, right? So I think the alchemy is in order. And that's why I decided to start the giveaway today. I think it's time that we stop giving them attention and we start bringing the attention where it's deserved. And that is with the true builders, right? People like Emblem, people like the Node Runners, the project founders. I see a few of you guys in here. It's time that we start giving us attention and not them. The message is clear. I think we all understand what's going on. Now we can move forward in the right and honest air. And that's who I am, Jake and Adam, Chris. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well said. We have BG and then we'll go to Billy right after.
Hi, everyone. Adam, sorry I didn't come up earlier. I'm meant to be doing client work, but got distracted with you guys. So I'm here in the background. But I just had something that is it's the irony of this whole situation. By the way, Book, I love that idea. I think it's such a great onboarding mechanism and so needed. But with this whole IP and sorry, I live in London, so there's always mad cars. But with this whole IP and copyright infringement thing, I think one of the funniest things for me when I reflect on it is that when the dogs took over Mochi Cat, the token, as a community takeover, people reached out to the original artist behind the Mochi Cat artwork. And the artist literally said, this is copyright infringement. It's my IP. This is not acceptable. And their stance was, doesn't fucking matter. It doesn't matter. So I think it's, for me, the thing that I find quite funny about this situation is that, it's a device being used by people who ignored it when it was laid on their lap. But really interesting about the stance of the doggy market. Very, very, very exciting to see, what the truth is and where the truth lies, but also that within the community there is a way forward that can put the focus on Dogecoins and not just the dogs.
Very well said. What's up, Billy?
I was just going to say, I know we're stepping back from ADD and everything, but can I still cut the promo from time to time, guys? Did you hear the promo, Jake?
No, play it. Do you have it on you?
Oh my God. I do have it on me. All right, give me one. Let me take off this earbud.
Wait, am I going to get hyped here?
Let's hear it, Billy.
You might get hyped. We cut this during well, actually we had a 9-hour space, like Chief explained. It was a very awesome space. We had about like 730 people tune in. And then the following day, my voice was so tired from saying this. I was like, I gotta go on Apple Logic and cut this because I'm gonna lose my voice doing it. So here it goes, guys.
Meet Max. Just a few weeks ago, Max was suffering from doginal dog syndrome, a condition that made him lethargic, anxious, and unable to enjoy his favorite activities. But thanks to ADD, Max is back to his playful self. As a veterinarian, I've seen many dogs like Max struggling with doginal dog syndrome. That's why I recommend ADD, the revolutionary new drug designed to cure this condition. ADD works by balancing the neurotransmitters in your dog's brain, helping to alleviate symptoms of anxiety, lethargy, and depression.
Since starting ADD, my dog buddy has been so much happier and more active. It's like he's a puppy again. I was worried about the side effects, but ADD has been gentle on Max's stomach, and he's been doing great.
With ADD, you can give your furry friend the gift of joy and vitality. Ask your veterinarian about ADD today and see the difference it can make for your dog. Because every dog deserves a happy, healthy life. ADD is a prescription medication. Consult your veterinarian to see if ADD is right for your dog. Possible side effects may include mild gastrointestinal upset, not for use in pregnant or nursing dogs. Individual results may vary.
There we go.
Wait, is this like a video?
No, I found some like royalty-free music on YouTube, and then I literally just went on Apple Logic and I cut it, so it's in a lossless format.
Nice.
Fantastic. So ADD, so the movement, I loved everything that I heard here. You know, at the end of the day, Doginals is a beloved community. Dogecoin is a very popular cryptocurrency with over 5 million, I think close to 6 million holders at this point, right? There's a lot of new things coming to the ecosystem. There's the Leica L2, right? Whether to be determined if it's needed or not. There's a bunch of hype behind that. You have DoggyFi's swap tool for or swaps and AMM for DRC20. Obviously, Track has said that they're getting close to deploying here. You have the My Doge wallet, which is the most popular Dogecoin wallet, is adding Doginal support for their wallet extension here.
By the way, Jake, just one sec. I just got confirmation. He'll be on the show next Thursday, so we'll do next Thursday. We'll talk to him about this.
My Doge CTO here next Thursday. Damn, I don't think he's had I think I've seen this guy talk about Doginals publicly. So maybe the exclusive. Good job on that booking. So as we all know, right, the whole point that I'm getting at here is there's a lot of catalysts that are in the works, and it really only takes one, right? Magic Eden is teased listing Doginals. I know there's an indexer kind of issue at large, but once that's solved, right, hopefully resume up only for Dogecoin. So with that being said, there's a lot of energy and a lot of passion that's swirling around and on this space and through the anti-Doginals movement. And as long as we channel that right, again, I said this yesterday on the Wednesday Doginal show by On-Chain Hustlers, who's on stage. At the end of the day, right, when the new wave come, when that catalyst does finally hit, there's going to be a wave or a flood of new users, and those new users are either going to go to the Doginal dogs, right, who host these large spaces because they have a Doginal PFP, or it's the community's job to find that new wave and to educate them properly through this, anti-Doginal dogs movement. And I think over the last 2 days, I've heard that this seems to be the direction that the community is going, channeling that momentum to something positive through education, right, and through these different type of projects. Very, very exciting times to say the least. What's up, dogs?
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for giving us a platform to kind of reshift the narrative onto Doginals properly, which is really what, at the end of the day, what the movement was about. It's never about blowing up this collection. It was about spotlighting a unique way of doing art through code that hasn't been done on Doge, and getting some attention back to the builders here. So thank you for hosting this. And yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say. And it's also kind of funny because my collection came out before theirs, and I have a 24 by 24 pixel art canvas just like theirs. And it's really hard to quantify, you know, what's a derivative and what's not based off of simplistic art. I mean, if you go off of just like a basic smiley face, like who owns the copyright for a smiley face? If this really were to like go farther, you could go down to the actual pixel and be able to like differentiate color by color and say, oh, okay, this is actually a derivative. Not to be petty or anything. I
No,
really
yeah, we've talked about that with lawyers in the space, and it's basically you can't at that sort of level of a 24 by 24 pixel canvas. You really can't. It more gets into this idea of you know, tricking consumers or impact on brand and all these kind of like very, very gray areas. But yeah, the art itself, when it's at that sort of scale, is you basically have, it's almost indefensible at that kind of level. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, yeah, the message just is there's more people out there, and we want to give actual people in the Doge community a voice. We're against wash trading and all these just fake tactics that are just disingenuous and shed negative light on the community. So that's all I got to say. Appreciate you guys.
Yeah, well said. What's up, Doge Doors?
Hey, good morning. Hope you guys are well. I really appreciate it that you guys give us a platform to speak. Well, you heard a lot already yesterday, right? And I'm very happy to be here, and I'm very happy to be here with all the brothers of Doginals who are here every day, like you guys, like the people who are here up right now. They are every day thriving, basically, to what Doginals is going to become. Because a lot of people who are into Doginals seeing something similar that we saw happening before in August, I think 2 years ago, with Ordinals, right? So it's something similar that people see here that will come to fruition, right? Right now it's very quiet, and so it's good to have spaces like this. It means a lot. It means that things are moving to the right direction. So yeah, I can say a little bit about the Doge Dwarfs. We are creating a lore. We have a lot of lore in our project. There's a lot of mystery. So far, we have only the roadmap out. And if you look at the roadmap, you can literally see it's an actual map drawn. And on that map, you can find a lot of clues to see what the project is going towards to. Furthermore, we have also a writer of a technical magazine who is writing a whole story related to the Doge Dwarfs. And well, I can say it right now. It's a story about the dwarfs beating Elon Musk with a race to Mars, because there's a lot of precious gems there, and the dwarfs, we're all kind of dwarfs here. I feel like we're all just looking and grinding and mining for gems. So yeah, that's why the dwarfs. For the rest, for the dwarfs, it's basically everything what people have been talking about now. What you heard from Dunes and certain NFTs. We've been airdropping holders constantly certain items, so Dunes, certain NFT projects. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff that has just been dropped, because right now we're in the stage that we are growing the community. So we're giving away a lot for free, right? Because we just want to expand and expand and expand and expand. This is not going to be forever. You guys know how it works. So yeah, that's basically what we're doing. I've been helped a lot by Billy. I met Billy in a space, and I spoke to him that I wanted to make a project, and I showed him a little bit of the artwork, and he got very excited, and he's like, "Here, come over to the node runners." And then these guys have been teaching me how to run a node, and been inscribing ever since. So I highly recommend you guys to come in and give these guys a follow. Billy, Big Chief, Book, On-Chain Hustlers, all the guys here that are here right now. They're all very, very heavy in the space. And we're happy to help anybody to get in touch with Doginals and to learn more about Doginals. So yeah, we're here, guys, and yeah, like you said, we're like the real community that's just striving for the goodness, right? You can see that there's some bad players in the space that are kind of obnoxiously like take over the space and the whole the scene basically, and give a certain image of what Dogenals is, and that's why we're here. We are not representing that. We're not doing any crazy wash trading and all this stuff and then call it market making. Fuck that, to be honest. So yeah, we're just the real deal, and yeah, we're here. We're here grinding for gems, guys. For now, also, if you hold a Doge Dwarf, you will be getting another airdrop. We are in the make of creating another collection. They are called basically the fighter, or how you call it. Sorry, my English is not always. I'm looking for a word. The opposites of the dwarfs, like the enemies. That's the word I was looking for. They are goblins, right? And the goblins are in the mines. And well, if you're holding a Doge Dwarf, you will be getting a goblin, right? But it depends also, because we have a rarity system created on the website, where you can go to, and then you can put your inscription ID in there, and you can see the rarity of your dwarf, right? And depending on what rarity you have, that's how many goblins you will be getting. So yeah, that's a little bit. We're building a lot of things. The guy who's helping with the goblins created the first BCR33 token on Bitcoin as well. So yeah, we're not we're here for a while, and we're here to stay, and we have a lot of vision here, and what potentially will blow up. And like you said, it's not even potential no more, because you just said there's like 100 million holders, right? Or 500 million holders. I didn't even remember exactly what you said. It's inevitable, right? That Doge and Dogenals will blow up, because we have Elon Musk, the biggest influencer out there, who is pro Doge. That's just the way it is. I don't make the rules, guys. I'm just following the narrative, right?
One question I have for you guys, and you guys tell me this. I mean, my just thought. I mean, I like what I hear. I prefer not having wash trading. I prefer projects when they launch, it's as close to fair as possible, right? But I keep popping up on the timeline. I keep seeing Brett on base, and we all know now that Brett was basically completely minted, almost 100% minted, if not 100% minted, by the insider cabal, right? And they've run this thing up to $1.5 billion in market cap, basically because there's no, you can't. They control the entire supply. And so the attention goes there. They get all this press. I mean, I totally get and vibe with what you guys are saying. I'm just saying, as a space, like, how can you get traction if you don't have this number go up mechanism? I'm not saying I have the answer, or that anybody in this space has the answer. And I definitely vibe with what you guys are doing here. 100% support it. But you feel me what I'm saying? Like, what we're up against is this number go up technology, which is basically teams completely controlling the supply, artificially inflating the price, and then dumping on, unsuspecting retail. Like, that's kind of where we are right now. We're at that versus like the rest of us who believe in like just creating stuff and letting the market be what it is. I don't know.
So if you look at, for example, what Leonardus did, right, with the runes, that was a free drop, right? That was like,
it's the outlier. It's incredible. 100%.
Right. That was very honest, and everybody liked it because it was all open and everybody saw what was going on.
100%.
So I think at that moment, Ordinals basically changed the meta. People don't like to be lied to. People understand the game. They want openness and they want fairness.
Yep.
And they want education. And I think that's what the node runners and Dogenals is gonna do in a far more difference than what they are doing. And yes, there will be a few people that will go to the bad ones first, but that's a learning curve. That's a learning curve where a lot of people have to go through first. And then when they've done with that learning curve, we're here. We're here to catch you with the catching net. We're here to help you. So great. I think that's the way for us, sir.
Awesome. Love that.
Awesome. Yeah, been very encouraged by this space. I do have a few Emblem updates. before we do wrap it up here. Some pretty exciting updates, actually. I teased out today on my Twitter feed what it looks like for viewing rare Pepe on Emblem markets. It's a very cool interface, very built towards collecting, right? So this is coming pretty soon, guys. And then also, Rare Skriller recently tweeted about the Pepe markets and XCP, right? XCP is going to be adding PSPTs here maybe 6 months from now. And then he goes on to say that, the current flavor of the month blockchain can be used to buy cards like Solana, right? So if you want to be able to buy a rare Pepe on Solana using Emblem Vault, then you will be able to. And so I went on to say, Emblem V2 will officially begin next month. If you guys aren't aware who's in the crowd, we took an incredibly insane risk looking at it. We knew it was a big risk back then, but now looking at it a year later, we basically have spent the last year rebuilding the entire Emblem Vault ecosystem, literally from the ground floor up, rebuilding the entire thing so that we can scale. And coming at the end of this quarter, so at the end of this month, we believe that's finally going to be wrapped up. And next month, we will be beginning officially Emblem Vault V2. Again, an entirely brand new system. And as we do expand, moving into quarter three, right, we're going to have a new front end, Emblem.finance, that it will be dropping alongside Emblem Markets this month, right? That's the that'll be happening this month. That's the first time we said that. So a little bit of alpha. It's going to take some time to build, but as we do expand in quarter three, we will be deploying on new chains. We deployed on Bitcoin, the first vault, the first Emblem Bitcoin vault a few weeks ago. We will be expanding to Bitcoin, Solana, and all of the L2s, Bitcoin L2s, Ethereum L2s, etc. And with this means that you could move your rare Pepe or whatever vaulted asset across chains with literally the click of a button. This would be much faster than any bridge, right? If you unbridge something, it can take upwards of 7 days. It took me 7 days to bridge my dog to the moon from Merlin back to my wallet. It took 7 days to get my Quantum Cat off of Merlin, right? Some of these bridges take 7 days. With our technology, you'll be able to do it literally in 10 seconds, right? So another 0 to 1 kind of technology. That's all coming pretty soon, guys. So stay tuned for that. Very, very excited. We will need some people to help test the beta testing. And I do say if you do help us test, right, that will be, there could possibly be some rewards for that moving forward. Adam, how are you feeling now about us finally moving into next chapter?
Bro, did we enter the nightmare zone, man? I mean, it is, it's so interesting. Tech is always much, much harder than you anticipate. And this was one of those. This was definitely the biggest rabbit hole I've ever gone down from a tech standpoint. It's been brutal, no doubt about it. But man, we're still here, and that's part of what it is. And certainly in Web3, like, you have to survive, and we're still surviving. So I'm excited about it, man. Like, look, this is it. All the L2s spinning up, Blast, Base, whatever, all the Bitcoin L2s, like the functionality, we're built for this. Like, this is our time to shine. We just got to make it happen.
Yep, absolutely. Exciting times to look for that, guys. If you appreciate what we've done at Emblem Vault, when we do drop the front end and the marketplace, we will be testing it publicly for, a month or so. I really encourage people to help us test all of this stuff. If there's any features that you would like, if you're a community owner, we will be rolling out boutique storefronts probably in quarter three. We do have some very solid partners for that, right? If you're an artist and you have cross-chain communities, for example, I'll use, this is just typical in the Counterparty community, right? You've created assets on Counterparty, Doge Party, and Ordinals, but you have a meme coin on Solana. How do you pair all of that together? We will be attempting to pair this all together on Emblem markets through these things called boutique storefronts. So these type of specific needs that artists request or want because of their diverse community or multi-chain communities. We will be supporting that. That's what you will be coming to Emblem Markets for. That we're building a chain agnostic marketplace, building towards that. What does this mean? This means that we are trying to abstract the chains away from the tokenized assets. I'll use some marketplaces as an example. This isn't to discredit or anything like that. When you go to Magic Eden or if you go to OpenSea, they have individual native experiences, right? So it's like on Magic Eden, if you want to interact with their Bitcoin ecosystem, you have to have Xverse. If you want to interact with Base, you have to have a MetaMask wallet, right? They're doing a good job now with their Magic Eden wallet to make that easier. But they're all individual native experiences. We're trying to take the other side of the spectrum here and build just one experience. There's one Rare Pepe collection for every single blockchain. There's one Node Monkeys collection for every single blockchain. If you want to take your Node Monkey to Blast so that you can farm with, $30,000 in value instead of having to build instead of having to purchase a native Blast asset. That's what we're here for, right? These type of use cases. If you want to take your assets, if you want to take your Rare Pepes and go farm on Bob when we deploy on Bob, right? To go participate in, I forget what their incentive ecosystem is, or XYZ point systems. This is what it's here for. And we're finally going to be able to live out that vision. And so again, because of the diverse communities across all these UTXO based platform or blockchains, there's a million different edge cases. So we highly recommend reaching out to us for this as we expand. What's up, dogs?
Yeah, super excited. You guys are experienced and you guys have done the research, so I can't wait to check it out. But yeah, I just wanted to say Dogecoin, can be seen as an L2 as well. And we have someone who's going to be building a marketplace that incorporates runes as well as dunes with Dogenals. We know that there's been talk of OKX and Magic Eden maybe incorporating Dogenals as well. But we've taken the first steps to build towards that as well. But yeah, you guys are great. Appreciate it.
Yeah, one of our goals is to add native trading for these different communities, right? So adding, it won't be immediate, but adding native counterparty support once they add PSBTs, adding native Dogenal support, all these UTXO account or UTXO based assets, so Bellinals, all the different Bitcoin ecosystems, Litecoin, etc. We want to add support for all of these through Emblem Markets so that you can trade natively and you could trade cross-chain within one interface. That's the goal. Of course, it's a lot more difficult to implement than we're saying, but that is the goal, right? Because right now there's 25,000 Rare Pepes vaulted. Just being straight, it's very unlikely all of those will be unvaulted just because of how crypto works. And I think the better experience would be just to have vaulted Rare Pepes and native Rare Pepes trading on one simple interface. To me, seems like the best way to go about it. And that is something that we intend to do moving forward. And yeah, we're incredibly excited about it. We can also take Emblem Vault and do Dogecoin vaults, right, in the future. The infrastructure needs to improve a little bit, but we have been talking with Oil, who's building out a Dogecoin RPC. They do have a Bitcoin RPC. So we have been talking with Oil to bring Emblem Vault to Dogecoin. The infrastructure isn't there yet, but it is something that we'd like to do, right? You want to take your Node Monkey and trade on Dogecoin. You want to take your CryptoPunk and trade on Dogecoin because it's literally a fraction, right, to trade, and it's more decentralized, etc. Blah, blah, blah. That is the direction that Emblem is moving towards with our new V2 system. So very, very exciting time. We're a firm believer in cross-chain. We've been in the cross-chain space for over 4 years now at this point, literally since the inception of cross-chain tooling. So stay tuned for all of it. And again, please follow the Emblem account. That's the one that's hosting the space. Please follow that so you guys can stay in tune. And if you are a creator who has multi-chain requests or demands or whatever it is, please reach out to us, and Adam and I and Chris can talk you through it. Even if you're not certain what completely it is, we're happy to talk through. We do these conversations literally daily in terms of like how does Emblem Vault fit into your ecosystem? There's, dare I say, an infinite amount of ways to tie in Emblem Vault, but it literally, it seems like there's kind of something new.
Can't wait to trade my doggy on Solana, man. This is going to be amazing.
Yeah. Dude, take Doji to Solana. That's
take Doji to Solana, baby. There we go. A real meme coin. Perfect.
Yeah. So Emblem Markets coming this month. Emblem Markets beta. Emblem.finance V2 coming. A brand new experience. There's going to be a leaderboard. And hint. Also, if you haven't checked the Emblem pinned post, we did announce that we are the etcher of runes number 5078. It's called Emblem Vault Keys. That is our rune. We had a bunch of questions. We've also etched runes on Dogecoin, on Dunes, and on Litecoin ordinals. I believe we own number like 470 on Dunes and number 51 on Litecoin. Granted, if we use all of them, will be to be determined, right? We are bullish on all the ecosystems, but again, we are making decisions off of market-driven data and what the market is telling us at the time. So yeah, stay tuned for all of it. Going to be a big month, and please participate with all of it. Any questions, please reach out to us. If you guys didn't know, Adam, myself, and Chris, we work at Emblem Vault, the leading cross-chain NFT protocol that has hit mainnet in 2020 with over 100 million in TVV. That's total value vaulted. We host the show Tuesday through Thursday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. If you guys didn't hear, next Thursday, we are hosting the MyDoge CTO. He will be on this show. From my knowledge, this is probably the first public interview that he will take about Dogenals. So all the Dogenal community that's here, please show up. If you have any questions for the MyDoge CTO, bring it. He'll be here. And we, of course, as you know, we host these shows. They're very open format stages. Please come in. And then Tuesday and Wednesday, we will have shows as well. Appreciate everyone. Stay safe out there. And we will be back Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. Eastern time. Until then, stay safe and Dogenal on.